Use this better life circle. In this episode, we are going to discuss and answer the question, how do I learn from mistakes and improve from experiences to do better next time? So my name's Doug Andrew. I love to teach people. I've been doing this for 45 years. I've authored 11 books. My goal is to write a book every year the rest of my life. And one of my favorite books that I've written is titled Entitlement Abolition. How to lead your family from me to we, together we're better. And there's a lot of ideas in this book that I share with the reader on how to empower those that you care about, your children, your grandchildren, your employees. In the book, I actually have a resource where I provide tools that I've created. They're thinking tools to empower people to be able to think through and make better decisions, arrive at solutions to problems, make the right decisions. And I'm going to share with you some of the most powerful tools that are very simple that you can employ and use. One of my favorite is called the Better Life Circle. We have used this tool now for several years, and it's very simple. You don't even need the sheet of paper, but when people read the book and they come online, they download these because these are copyrighted forms. But let me explain, it's really a simple 4-step process. First of all, when do you use this form to go through this thinking process? It says it's a better life circle. We all go through life with experiences, both good and bad, but we want to learn from the previous experiences. What went right and what went wrong, and what should we do again the next time we do it? And so in my professional life, whenever I teach a seminar or hold an educational event, it may be with 60 people in the room, it may be with 2,000 people, sometimes 4,000 people in an audience. And whenever I put on an educational event that's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, I always fill out a Better Life Circle at the end of the event. When I record radio shows, when I write a book, when I hold our annual Grandpa's Camp, I always fill out a Better Life Circle so that I improve from the things we learned from the previous events. So let me go through this form and how I would use it. We'll probably use an example like of Grandpa's Camp to help you understand it. And then I'll give you some ideas on how you could use it in other areas of your life. So whenever you have an experience that you want to improve from, or you want to transform what you learned because you want to make the learning greater than the experience. And so it's very simple. I take out one of these forms, and the very first blank here, after I put my name and the date on here, I'll write down the actual experience that I would like to learn from. So I might write down year 2020 Grandpa's Camp. Now, what's Grandpa's Camp? My wife and I, we have 6 children and 17 grandchildren so far. And one of the best things we do every summer is we hold an annual Grandpa's Camp. And in a nutshell, it's where the teenage children come for the first 3 days, and we do high adventures in the mountains. We do rappelling, hot air ballooning, and we might even skydive someday. But we also talk teenage talk, adult talk. And I actually teach them with these tools. The next 2 days, the 8-year-olds and older come and join them with Grandpa up at 10,500 feet. And then the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds join Grandma at the cabin, and then we bring them all together. But every year that we do this, the parents aren't allowed to come until the final day with the little toddlers, the 1, 2, and 3-year-olds. We keep getting better and better because we fill out a Better Life Circle form. So if I was putting down Grandpa's Camp, our first one was the year 2013. So I would put down Grandpa's Camp 2013. Over here, the second step is to list the positive things that happened versus the negative things. In other words, what went right at Grandpa's camp this year, and what didn't go so right? What went wrong? The very first year, for example, we brought them all together, and I realized that some of the hobbies and crafts, because I have all of the grandchildren take their turn to conduct a hobby or a craft and teach a lesson or a story that they've learned about from their ancestors, or maybe a great person like Thomas Edison or whatever, depending upon what the theme is. We have different themes every year, like last year was Be a Possibility Thinker. I realized that sometimes some of those activities were a little bit elementary for the teenagers, and they were getting antsy and maybe even getting on the verge of being bored. And so I filled out a Better Life Circle. The next year, we decided to have the teenagers come for the first 3 days. It wasn't that way first, but we changed it, and oh, was it a hit, because then we were able to do adult activities, and then we involved them as facilitators when the 8-year-olds came and the 4-year-olds came, because we have an annual treasure hunt. So now I don't have to do the treasure hunt. I assign that to the teenagers, and they love drawing the treasure map and doing the treasure hunt for all the little kids and everything like that. They also help with facilitating a lot of the games and the activities. I put them in charge. I just show up and sort of monitor and facilitate, because I continue to improve Grandpa's camp every single year by filling out a Better Life Circle. Another example, we used to have our grandchildren of similar age pair up with their cousins of same age groups, and they would present the idea, the lesson, the activity, the book report, the actual art and craft. But it was very hard sometimes for them to get together and coordinate with their cousin. So by filling out a Better Life Circle, what we did is we kept it in the family. We have 6 children, so now they, with their siblings, all will coordinate together because they're home, they're close to each other, and they come prepared with a particular lesson, a topic that I've assigned them. They have it at different levels for different age groups, and it's been a hit ever since. So what you do is you write down what went right, what went wrong, and how you're going to improve it. So down here on the bottom, what is it that you're going to do differently? How will this transform? The first year we did Grandpa's camp, we had every minute planned. Well, we found it was better just to be flexible. I have a beatitude, blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape. So now we do a main activity in the morning, one after lunch, and one in the evening. There's a lot of free time, and we have a lot of flexibility, and they don't feel so rushed to get from one activity to the next, because we build in that flexibility. And so finally, over here in the 4th box, you're writing down the step-by-step process that you're going to use at the next Grandpa's camp to make sure it comes off with a hit, that it is better than the ones before. And every year from 2013, the annual Grandpa's camp gets better and better, to the point you ask any of our grandchildren, and I don't think they say this just to appease Grandpa, but they say, we would rather come to Grandpa's camp than any other vacation, even Disneyland. And I am thrilled because they love getting together and riding 4-wheelers and doing activities and learning and being with their cousins without their parents around. Now, what if it's not a camp? It could be a seminar. It could be what you're doing in your real estate business, your dental business and practice. It could be what you do as a fitness trainer or a nutritionist. I've helped numerous entrepreneurs improve their processes by filling out one page after each event, and then they keep it in a file cabinet. The next time they hold the event, they pull it out just like I do every year for Grandpa's camp. So this is really a Better Life Circle. Let me give you one last little idea. There are many times I meet people that have gone through a marriage that didn't work out. Not all marriages are really meant to probably stay together. And so oftentimes I will hear comments, why do I keep marrying jerks? And I go, well, how fast did you get into the next relationship? About a month later. I guess I was on the rebound. I said, could I make a suggestion? Why don't you fill out this sheet of paper at the end of that marriage that failed and write down what you learned, okay? What was good? What went right in that marriage? What went wrong? And if you were going to get married again, what would you do to make sure you were compatible and things worked out? And in what order would you then start to develop a relationship with another partner? And they sit there and they go, I've never thought of that before. Would you like a better life? Why don't you fill out a sheet of paper, and then maybe they don't make the same mistakes. They can see signals that they're not going to be compatible, and you won't have to make so many mistakes because you can correct them by using a simple form called the Better Life Circle. So how can you learn more about tools like this? The Better Life Circle is such a popular tool in our family. We sort of put it on our tool belt. These are available everywhere for our children, our employees. They're at their fingertips all throughout our office. Other tools are in a toolbox you use once a quarter, maybe once every 6 months. Some tools are in a tool shed. You just use it once a year. They're seasonal. But I want to gift you absolutely free a copy of my book, Entitlement Abolition. You can read through this. I'll pay for the book. You just pay $5.95 shipping and handling. You go to entitlementabolitionbook.com. That's entitlementabolitionbook.com. And I'll send out a copy of this book absolutely free. You just pay $5.95 shipping and handling. You can also learn by listening or watching. I have master classes. I have audiobooks. But this will empower you, and you'll also have access to the tools that I'm talking about. So here's to your brighter future. Get your free copy of Entitlement Abolition. I want you to be able to be empowered to rethink your thinking for a better life.